Greg Palast drops by to tell us about the roughly 200,000 people that the Republican Secretary of State in Georgia just recently took off the Georgia voting rolls, where he was able to find that, yep, every single one of those people still live where they always lived. Check it out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Hey, just a reminder that tomorrow, Friday, September 4th at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time, I'll be doing a book signing with Seattle Town Hall virtually. It's over on their website, Seattle Town Hall, or Town Hall Seattle, I guess is the official name. And of course, it's also information at thomhartmann.com. On the line with us, and that's about my book, The Hidden History of Monopoly, How Big Business Destroyed the American Dream. And it's a fascinating topic, which I think is going to get more important right after the first of the year. But what's right in front of us right now is Donald Trump encouraging people to commit felonies to try to mess with our vote. 198,351 voters in Georgia taken off the voter roll list. Our old buddy Greg Palast is with us, the investigative journalist known for his reports for the BBC, The Guardian, and The Rolling Stone. He's the author of the new book, How Trump Stole 2020, The Hunt for America's Vanished Voters. And, of course, his previous, The Best Democracy Money Can Buy, book and film. You can find all the information at Greg Palast, P-A-L-A-S-T, gregpalast.com, and his Twitter handle is Greg_Palast. Greg, welcome back.
Glad to be with you, Tom. Boy, you know Georgia's a swing state now, because the GOP Secretary of State, the guy who took Brian Kemp's place, removed 198,351 voters. That's just short of 200,000, yes. He said that they moved. They left Atlanta. They left Georgia. I didn't see any moving trucks, so I hired the nation's top address location people, and working with the ACLU, we discovered that they said 300,000 people moved. 198,351 never moved. They're right there. Their only crime is attempting to vote while black or young or Asian American. 198,351 people. We, by the way, have all of their names and addresses. We've made it public, that they're removing these voters because Georgia is now, according to the polls, split right down the middle. It's down to the wire. It's now a white minority state, and there's 2 Senate seats in play. So the GOP has only one move. They don't have enough, old white guys to elect Donald Trump or a GOP Senate, and so they've got to get rid of the non-white, non-young voters, and this is what they've done. 198,000 legal voters removed.
Yeah, remember when Donald Trump bought a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of the Central Park Five? Why not buy it'd probably take two pages, maybe. Actually, I don't know how many, what size type you'd need to go to, but, buy an ad in the Atlanta Constitution Journal, or Journal-Constitution, whichever it is, that lists literally every single name. Is your name on this list? You have been removed from the voting rolls even though you didn't leave the state.
Well, 2 things. One, no one reads anymore, especially the AJC. But we have put up, by the way, so please, if you're in Georgia, please go to SaveMyVote2020.org, SaveMyVote2020.org, and that's something that I set up with the ACLU. You can look up your name and see if you've been purged. There's a link to re-register right now. The reason why the ACLU really begged me to put out this report right now is so that people would have enough time to re-register, and I appreciate the ACLU's great work on this. I should also note, and here's a weird one, Tom, they said that 108,000 people that they said moved, those names came from the post office. Well, the Palast Investigative Fund hired the official licensee for the post office, and they went through the list and they said, no, only 3 out of 4 names here did not come from the post office. We have no idea where Georgia got these lists. So they literally said these came from the post office. It's fabricated. They made it up. I don't know where they got it. We've been asking where exactly did you get these names? Because the post office says this is fabricated. I'm not kidding you, Tom.
Have you checked voter registrations to see if they are overwhelmingly Democratic? I mean, they might just be working off a voter registration list. They're easy.
Black,
They're publicly
Asian
available.
American, young, They're mostly in Atlanta, renters, low income. We are kind of
right. They do it by zip code,
avoiding,
right?
Yeah, so we know who these are, what the party affiliation is. We went out because we're working with the ACLU. We're not looking at affiliation, so we're not prejudiced by that. We just know the color of the voters, and when you get to black, young, Asian American renters in Atlanta, who exactly are you removing? They know what's going on, and by the way, they kind of showed their cards because the Secretary of State's response to the ACLU was, "Ignore Greg Palast. He's a Stacey Abrams shill." And I thought it was a Thom Hartmann shill. But
no, I thought I was a Greg Palast shill.
It's simple. I said, look, we hired the post offices. We said, can you sit down with the post office experts that we've paid for them, and we've paid for the nation's top address verification experts. This is, by the way, required by federal law. The federal law says you have to use the post office licensee. And they didn't. We talked to the post office licensee. We hired them. They said, it's all fabricated. We don't know where this comes from. And we said, look, here's the names and addresses. This is not a scientific sample. We literally went through every single name using 240 databases plus the post office historic files. These are the licensed people that are supposed to, by law, do this work for the states. And they said that 63% of the list, that is 200 out of 300,000 voters that they said moved, didn't. And that, by the way, we've been to this rodeo before. Back in 2018, when I was down in Georgia, I was standing at that polling station, one voter after another saying that they were thrown out, that they couldn't vote there anymore, including, of course, Christine Jordan, 92 years old. I was with her when she was thrown out of the polling station. Her 50th year of voting at that station, they said she was no longer registered because she'd moved from her house. I went to the house that they said that she moved out of. I was there, and there was Martin Luther King's photo on the wall having dinner with her because this is Martin Luther King's cousin. And again, where do they get this idea that these people have moved? I met them. I talked to them.
They're just making this stuff up, Greg. This is the excuse to take them off the voting rolls. Brian Kemp won the election by 50,000 votes after throwing, as you documented, several 100,000 people off the voting rolls prior to the 2018 election. Of course they're going to do this.
Right, so they did this. And the problem is that we don't have it. Normally, what I discovered, I remember I used to work with the Justice Department. Now it's turned into an injustice department. Who do I go to? Who do you call?
Right.
Right. This is
you call the ACLU, I guess.
We've called the ACLU, and by the way, it's we should be looking for Republican victories within this 200,000 vote margin of purge here, and contest absolutely everything, when the election happens. But secondly, you busted Georgia. How extensively is this going on in other states that have Republican secretaries of state? Oh, boy. I just found out this morning Florida's using the same system. And, the election is going to come down to Florida and to Georgia. And Ohio is using the system. And I should also say that the Republicans are trying to force the state of Wisconsin to eliminate voters using a similar purge system. And amazingly, the Board of Elections there has actually asked the Palast Investigative Fund to use, we have extensive technical ability in this area to go through these lists to help them out. So you're talking about it started in Georgia in 2018 because of a Supreme Court decision of months earlier, which allowed a new system of purging. But you can't make stuff up. You can't say, I got this from the post office, and the post office says, we don't know. So, it's spreading all over into those swing states.